to move on to a musical performance, and we're very lucky to have a few kind of big city people come to visit us in our little small Montana. Our first musical act is Tara J. King. She's an LA-based visionary performing artist and songwriter. She combines soulful pop with American roots music, and she has the blessing to sing in 5 octaves. You'll hear her beautiful voice if you didn't hear it a few minutes ago. She draws from multiple genres, and her unique style makes it easy to understand her message while moving to ear-pleasing cadence. Themes of love, giving back to community, and awareness have united audiences as she performed on international national tours for NBA Rhythm and Rhymes, American Idol, along with a dozen other television and movie appearances and song placements. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tara J. King, backed up by Naked Soul.
Good afternoon, everyone. My heart feels heavy right now after hearing so many beautiful women tell their story, and I'm really inspired right now. This first song is called Live My Life. It was actually after my American Idol experience. I was still searching and getting to know myself as an artist, and through those moments of feeling like a failure, I think a lot of blessings come through, and this was a birth of this song. This song's called Live My Life. I don't know how much time I have here, so I'm taking this breath. I'm not gonna focus on my tears no more. It feels like I'm dead inside, even though I'm here, disconnected from the girl that I once knew. But that's gonna change from here. I've gotta live my life and do what is right. I've gotta live my life and make it through the night. Today I want the best for me. I'm not gonna doubt no more, no more, no more. Last night I was with my old self for the very last time, and I decided to love me and live and be free like a Trojan tide. I've gotta live my life and do what is right. I've gotta live my life and make it through the night. I've gotta live my taking this breath. We're not gonna focus on our tears no more. Thank you so much. All right, so this next song, I actually wrote it with women in mind all over the world. There's a lot of women suffering all over the world, and you guys inspire me every day. And recently, executives of a docuseries have shown interest in this song, and it's about raising awareness of the human trafficking that goes on all over. And this song is called Angel, and I dedicate it to all of you beautiful ladies out there. I've done all I can, gave my heart, you held me in your hands, and then there I was, waiting for the day we meet as one. Oh God, if I'm wrong, give me the will to keep moving on now. Just give me a sign. Man, you make me pray. Oh, oh, oh. Send me an angel. Oh, oh, oh. To guide me home. And there she sits inside of mine. We're living it, wanting to know what went wrong. Where did the love go? Forgetting herself, she fell so hard and buried her head in the sand. What is she to do again? Man, you make us pray. Oh, oh, oh. Send us an angel. Oh, oh, oh. To guide us home. Oh, oh, oh. Send us an angel. Oh, oh, oh. Guide us home. Oh, we give it all we had. Oh, the walls we never had. That we cried to our soul, letting go with the old to become one with ourselves. Oh, our hearts go. All my ladies, you're beautiful. Don't you ever forget that. We gotta come together. Gotta love one another. Oh, oh, oh. Send us an angel. Oh, oh, to guide us home. Oh, oh, oh. Send us an angel. Oh, oh, to guide us home. Thank you. Pardon me. Having some tea. Today's actually our 4th day on tour. I'm touring with Naked Soul right now, and it's so beautiful to be outdoors because we've been inside in venues every single night, traveling from one place to the other. It's such a blessing to be here. I'm super grateful. All right. So this next song, was an artist that really inspired me, and I think that this is very it's perfect for where we're at, and we're all beautiful souls here, and it's all about saving our own soul. People living their lives for you on TV. They say they're better than you, and you agree. He said, hold my calls from behind those cold brick walls. Yeah, come here, boy, cause there ain't nothing for free. Another doctor's bill, a lawyer's bill, another cute, cheap thrill. You know you love him if you put him in your will, but who will save your soul? When it comes to the flower, will save your soul. All those lies that you told, boy, who will save your soul if you won't save your own? La da 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 da, yeah. Some are walking, some are talking, some are stuck and get killed. That's Social Security, but doesn't pay your bills. There are addictions to thieves, and there are miles to pay. So we bargain with the devil. Say you're okay for today. Say you love them, take their money. You're wrong. Say it's been swell, sweetheart, but it was just one of those things, those strings, those things you got to cut. So get out on the street, girls, and bust your butt. Who will save your soul when it comes to the flower? Will save your soul. All those lies that you told, boy. Who will save your soul if you won't save your own? La da 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 da, yeah. Some trust and try to bust and try to cuss. Them cops want some bust down on Orleans Avenue. Another day, another dollar, another war, another tower went up where the homeless lost their home. So we pray to many different gods like there are flowers. God, religion, our friend. We're so worried about us saving our souls. We pray to God will take this toll, but we forget to begin. But who will save your soul when it comes to the flower? Will save your soul. All those lies that you told, boy. Who will save? Hey, so if you won't save your own, la da dum, la da dum. Who will save your soul if you won't save your own? Thank you so much. Yeah, I got some favorites out there. Love Jewel. I'm going to bring out the lead singer of Naked Soul. They'll be performing tonight at 7 p.m. So if you guys are going to be here all day, you definitely don't want to miss them. This next song is a song off of my EP. We also have merch, shirts, hats, CDs, and some lovely people that you should meet. And sign up on our email list. We're going to be on tour for the next week and a half. So if you want to come and check us out at some other places. This song is called My Way Home, and it's a song about traveling through distance and having your community support you as you continue on in your journey. Started out running, I'm leaving the past behind me. Got a picture in my pocket that I keep real close to remind me. Took off in a direction and I'm hoping that the wind will guide me to a road in the distance as far as my eyes can see. Yeah. I've been running a while, I've been running for miles, I've been running my way home. I've been running a while, I've been running for miles, I've been running my way home. Yeah, keep moving on, gotta give it back. Me and my friends all together, yeah, we'll get it on track. Hey, look up ahead, storms are coming in. Can't wait for the sun to come out again. I've been running a while, I've been running for miles, I've been running my way home. I've been running a while, I've been running for miles, I've been running my way home. I've been running a while, I've been running for miles, I've been running my way home. I've been running a while, I've been running for miles, I've been running my way home.
Days keep passing by.
Face the test of time. I don't know where this road leads, I just keep on looking to the sky, just knowing that the stars will align. Yeah, yeah. I've been running a while, I've been running for miles, I've been running my way home. I've been running a while, I've been running for miles, I've been running my way home. I've been running a while, I've been running for miles, I've been running my way home. I've been running a while, I've been running for miles, I've been running my way home. Ooh, 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 running my way, running my way, running my way home. Running my way, running my way, running my way home. I've been running a while, I've been running for miles, I've been running my way home. I've been running a while, I've been running for miles, I've been running my way home. Thank you so much. Give it up for Chris Bryden over here on the guitar and vocals. All right, so this next song, the last two ladies really inspired me, and I wasn't going to sing this song, and I really felt like I wanted to sing this one. This song is called Oh, and it's about loss, and it's about grieving and feeling that, and I dedicate it to my wonderful friend that inspired me to write it, Thomas Segura, that left this world too early, and I want to dedicate this to everyone that feels that sense of loss, or if they're going through grieving. Like they said, I don't think it ever leaves you. So this song is called Oh. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, 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 yeah. She was standing at the front door for about an hour, and he said he was coming home soon, but that was 3 hours ago. She's been with him 2 years, 3 months, and about 29 days. But on that 29th day, his life was taken away. She said, oh, 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 why's life gotta be this way? Oh, 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 how am I gonna live another day? Oh, 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 mm. It was 3 months later, she emotional wreck. She couldn't get the words that she heard out, they just rang in her head. She wished she could turn back the hands of time. She was with the love and her life was oh so divine, but she feels oh, 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 why's life gotta be this way? Oh, 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 how am I gonna live another day? Oh, 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 Tragic things change you in life's mountain valleys. You gotta pick yourself up from here and choose to feel, but it feels oh, 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 oh. Oh, oh, oh,
Hello.
na, 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 oh, oh. A year passed on by, a reflection of that season, as she looked into her baby's eyes, seeing now the word of reason. She shed a blues of joy through his eyes of light, and from that day on she knew he was by her side. But she feels oh, 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 oh. Thank you. So I'm now going to call up the members of Naked Soul to come and play a couple of songs with me before I leave. Please come and say hello. I would love to meet all of you. I don't think that's possible, but. I do have some upbeat songs. They're coming right now. This song is called Open Your Heart. So feel free to get up and groove. One, two, three, four. Hey, hey.
Y'all feeling good today? Oh, good. Seen some good music. Seen some good art. Some good vibes all around.
Don't expect them to answer, man. Everyone's way too peaceful right now. And that's fine with us.
I have no expectations.
Y'all just hang out.
That's right. All right, so this last song, it's been such a pleasure playing for all of you guys here at the Peace Festival. This last song is called Listen. It inspired me when I was living in New York City to just really listen to yourself. Nobody knows yourself better than you with your decisions that you make. So, thank you guys so much. Peace. Thank you. Love, happiness, joy. My name's Tara J. King. 1, 2, 3, and... to listen. Thank you so much. Peace.
Tara J. King, everybody.
Naked Soul.
Recording artist gives away all the profits from their work, but that's what Ani Sarang-Wangmo does, and she's not just the usual artistic performer. She's been a nun since she was 12 years old. Upon completing the traditional 3-year retreat in 1996, she began and continues to work on the Awam and Namchak Pecha religious text project, collecting and digitizing them for Tulku Sangnak Rinpoche of Awam and Namchak. So please welcome a dear sister to us all, Awam's singing nun, Ani Sarang-Wangmo.
This crowd steady now? Are you just moving? No, he's just rotating. You want to move back?
Sanje Jadan Soke Sanam La Janjo Bardo Dane
Gyudan Debra Juji Simje Tamje Dunga Mebe Dewa Tamba Damendrawa Juji Simje Tamje Nyere Chadan Yedan Druve Tanyo Tseme Bala Nebra Njuro Chi Thank you.
Okay, we're going to do the Heart Sutra Yum Chenmo mantra. I know many of you know this mantra. Ani Sering Wangmo has it on one of her amazing CDs that she's recorded. She's really prolific. She's recorded maybe 10 CDs, maybe more, maybe 20 CDs, I don't know. But this is one of my favorite mantras, the Prajnaparamita mantra. For those who know it, I hope you'll join in with us. Do you have signal on the guitar coming? Oh, I'm supposed to. There we go. Oh, what a joy to get to sing with Ani Sering Wangmo. We'd like to introduce now our keynote speaker, Lama Tsomo. She's a longtime Buddhist practitioner. She's studied and completed many intensive retreats under Gokchen Tulku Sangnak Rinpoche, and his close instruction and supervision with many empowerments and teachings. She's included the course including the course in study and practice of the traditional 3-year retreat. She also holds a master's degree in counseling psychology. She's quite learned in both Eastern and Western methods, and she hopes to act as a bridge for interested practitioners. Her direct, clear, and often humorous approach includes many stories and examples from modern life. Today, she's here to speak on that which cannot be healed, and we're very, very lucky and grateful to have her. So please welcome Lama Tsomo.
See what happens. I wave my hands a lot when I talk, so hopefully I won't crash into the microphone. So the title of this talk is Healing That Which Cannot Be Healed. And you've already been hearing about that earlier today. And I wanted to come back to that again and bring a few threads together. Here we all are at the Garden of Thousand Buddhas. Here we are at the Peace Festival. And here I am talking about healing that which cannot be healed. So how do all these things fit together? Well, I'm sure you can imagine in a lot of ways, but I only have a half an hour. So I'll just talk about one and really try to bring that into focus. And I won't be doing all the talking. You will be too. So in my own life and those of my psychotherapy clients, I found that we all have wounds that feel like they can't fully be healed. So there's loss, betrayal, attacks, cheating, illness stealing years of our lives. There's a huge long list. But let's just take, again, try to bring this list down to things that people have done to us that then we feel like we want to get back at them for. So I haven't experienced the extreme violence that you heard about earlier, but I've had my own suffering from things people have done to me. And as I've said, every single client of mine in my practice, I found, experienced things that nobody should have to experience. So there wasn't one case of one client where that wasn't true. So I'm just going to ask you to think for a minute. Is there anyone here who suffered someone hurting you? Have you ever been angry about that? Raise your hand. That's half. Oh my goodness, more people. Think of that, amazing. Well, you know, sometimes these are small things and sometimes they're really huge and it's really hard to get over it. And yeah, we've been really angry about it. What do we do with that? So you could do like the Hatfields and the McCoys. Does anybody know that reference? So that's a reference to Appalachia, where somebody from one family did something terrible to somebody from another family. Those family members got back at that family. And then, of course, these family members then are angry about that, and so they get back at that family. And it went back and forth, going on for hundreds of years, until the people who did the first back and forth have been dead for a really long time. And that's not just in Appalachia. In Italy, the word vendetta, you know, that comes from Italy. And in the Bible, we, you know, hear about the Arabs smiting the Israelites and the Israelites smiting the Arabs, back and forth, and everybody can read the news today, you know, it's still going on. That's thousands of years later. So what do we do about that? Well, I read a story a long time ago by Corrie ten Boom called The Hiding Place. And it was called The Hiding Place because she and her sister and her father were part of kind of an underground railroad during World War II. This was in Holland. And they had two different hiding places for Jews who were escaping the Nazis. And they succeeded for years, actually, a couple of years. And finally, they got found out, thrown into a concentration camp. The father, who was quite old, immediately died. And the sister, and these two sisters were in their 50s. The older sister lived for a pretty long time. Finally, she died, and the one sister was left. And she, of course, you can imagine, suffered a lot and suffered the loss of her family and great, suffering and travail in the camp. Afterwards, she went around speaking about this and how to recover one's humanity after such a thing. And at one of her talks, she had just finished it, and somebody came up to her, a man, and he said, "Thank you, your talk was truly transformative." And he reached out his hand to shake her hand, and she looked at him, and she realized, wait, this is the guard from my camp, one of the most despicable and sadistic guards of all. And here he was, holding out his hand. He wanted to shake her hand. And she thought, I'm just a human being. This is beyond me. I can't do this. And she was a devout Christian, which had sustained her actually through the whole experience in the camp. And so she immediately prayed to Jesus and said, I can't do this. You're going to have to do this for me. She needed a great big entity like that to help her. And sure enough, with the help of that greatness, she was able to reach out her hand and shake this man's hand. So that was what Corrie ten Boom did. And if we don't do that, if we constantly think of revenge and how we've been wronged, then on the other hand, there's the story that my father told me when I was growing up. He had a friend who was in business, and another businessman had cheated him horribly and done just, terrible, really terrible things. And this man was so angry and so bent on revenge that he ended up in the hospital with his intestines literally tied in a knot. And my father went and visited him and sat next to him and said, listen, this isn't helping anyone. You're actually hurting yourself doing this. You've got to find a way to get past this. But again, how do we get past this? So, as you know, I've been using Buddhist methods for a very long time. And one day I was sitting in retreat all by myself, and I was doing Buddhist practice, and something bubbled up, a thought, a realization bubbled up in me. Oh my gosh, this person who I love dearly, who I'm very close to, has actually been kind of making war on me, has been really awful to me for years. And of course, when it's somebody close to you, that kind of betrayal, that kind of, they've been talking behind my back as well as terrible to my face, that kind of betrayal is the most painful. And I became absolutely furious. So I'm sitting there on my meditation cushion, absolutely furious. I'm so furious. It's like a forest wildfire going through my whole nervous system. And I was practically shaking with anger. And I, imagined a conversation, how we all have these internal conversations. I imagined this person sitting in front of me. I imagined talking to them, and on the surface it sounded kind of nice, but actually there was like sharp battery acid coming underneath. And so in a way I was going to keep perpetuating this, yeah? And this was beyond me too. I'm just a person. So I went to Vajrasattva, and this is a being who we work with in Tibetan Buddhism quite often. All the lineages of Tibetan Buddhism use the Vajrasattva practice as a cleansing practice. So, if you think of, for example, with Christianity, Corrie ten Boom, there were certain, how can I say, qualities that were associated with Jesus. And so she was able to connect with that principle of reality that had the face of Jesus, and she imagined him and so on, and was able to then go beyond her normal capacity. So for me, it was Vajrasattva. And in Tibetan Buddhism, we not only imagine So using the visual, but we also use sound, archetypal image, archetypal sound. We try to bring all of the senses together, bringing them to bear to help us. Vajrasattva, again, is about purification. So Tibetans practice Vajrasattva when they want to purify the karma of an illness or really, almost anything. And in this case, for me, it was purifying my own anger because I could feel how I was poisoning myself. Not to mention my relationship with this person who I actually loved. But I couldn't stand the feeling inside of me. That was the most immediate thing. And so I decided to do Vajrasattva. So I imagined Vajrasattva, I said the mantra, I did the visualization. And at first, the first thing that happened, it's sort of like the layers of an onion. The first layer peeled away, and that absolute furious anger peeled away. And what came next? Tears. Because, of course, I was hurt. That's what was under the anger. So I was crying, and the tears and the snot are pouring down, and I'm saying the mantra, and I'm doing the visualization and everything. And all of that sadness and the tears and everything just were pouring out. And all of this went on for just really not that many minutes. I'm going to say about 20 minutes. I don't really know because I was obviously occupied. And at the end of that time, I realized I just felt so light. I mean, light in the sense of, like bright light, and also light in the sense of unburdened. And just this sweetness in my heart. It completely was down to that after I peeled away all the other layers. So then I thought, well, let's see how it is with this person. So I imagined them again, and I imagined talking to them, and I thought, let's see how I am now. Well, I just felt love for them and some compassion. Lots of compassion, lots of love. And that was really all I felt, and just this lightness. So that was truly miraculous to me. And that's my own experience. And I've worked with a lot of students now who have had various experiences with similar practices. So I just thought maybe you guys might want to road test a really simple version of this particular practice that I was just talking about. Can I just have a show of hands to see if anybody wants to do that? All right. Well, those of you who don't feel like doing that, you can just sit quietly. And whoever does want to road test this, here we go. So first of all, let me explain a little bit about the visual. So what you're going to imagine is Vajrasattva, who is very bright white, snow white. That's the color of Vajrasattva. Now we have other deities that are green or red or blue, various colors, but this one happens to be white. And so if you can imagine one of the Buddhas from the garden, he looks much like that, he's sitting like that, but he has a Vajra and a bell crossed at his heart. And so we just imagine him sitting above our head. You can imagine that. And then coming down from him is like molten white wisdom nectar that comes into us and completely fills us. And just because of the pressure of that coming through, all of whatever it is that we want to, the feelings that we want to get rid of, that we want to transform, actually, they just naturally transform. Have you ever seen those time-lapse photographies of when they're trying to show a stain remover, a laundry stain remover? So they show, the other brand, and then our brand, the Vajrasattva brand, with stains. And when they show the time-lapse, our brand, the stain slowly just, kind of the darkness just goes away, and you're left with this white piece of cloth. So you might just imagine something like that. So again, Vajrasattva is above us, and down into us is this wisdom nectar called Amrita, and it goes down into us and cleanses this. Now, just take a moment and pick something you would like to do this practice, to road test this practice on. Something real, but don't pick something like really intense and extreme, because this is your very first time trying this out. Try something a little bit easier, something that somebody said to you that kind of hurts your feelings, that's happened recently, something simple like that, nothing, no big deal, but just enough to road test this. So I'll give you just a second to think of that. And now for the audio portion. So again, archetypal image we've got, and for archetypal sound, it's Om Benza Sato A. So can you say Om Benza? Om Benza. Om Benza. Om Benza Sato. Om Benza Sato. Om Benza Sato A. Om Benza Sato A. All right. So now just bring to mind the thing that's painful to you that somebody did. Again, nothing big deal, but just something that still kind of stings, And now imagine Vajrasattva over your head and the Amrita coming down into you, cleaning you out, and say with me, Om Benza Sato A. 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 Really see this. Really feel it happening inside of you. Om Benza Sato A. 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 So remembering that Vajrasattva is a great entity, a principle of reality that's within us and all across the universe. An entity this big can truly help us. Om Benza Sato A. Om Benza Sato A. Om Benza Sato A. Om Benza Sato A. Om Sato. So please turn to the person next to you and tell them the answer to these two questions. What just happened? Just tell a little of your experience in road testing this. Second question, how might you test this further in the future? I mean, this is only one time. So please turn to the person next to you or nearby who's just been doing this and spend a couple of minutes with each other. So please switch to the other person if only one person's been talking, and give the other person a turn. And now, please, if you can bring your attention back here. Finishing up, sharing with each other for just a minute, and then you'll come back and share with each other again. I wanted to share with you one more story, and this is also from my own life. When I was, I was just about to enter high school. It was the 1968 Democratic Convention in Chicago, and I was living in Chicago. And my father decided to let one friend of mine who was very much into politics and he was going to take us down to a peace rally in Grant Park, right in downtown Chicago. Well, as you can imagine, there were thousands and thousands of people there, and we had to park like, I don't know, close to a half a mile away. Well, the last quarter of a mile, on one side, shoulder to shoulder, were the National Guardsmen. And they were literally just like this 6-foot-high wall on the left side. And they were wearing their, crew cuts and their uniforms, and they were standing shoulder to shoulder, just all in a line. And then on the other side, standing also shoulder to shoulder, also about 6 foot high, with their long hair and their bell bottoms, in their uniforms, in other words, were the hippies. And they were standing opposite each other with just enough room for us to walk, you know, so they were very, very close, about this close together. And you could just barely walk that last quarter of a mile in between them. And they were both glaring at each other, just glaring at each other. And for the several days before that, I'd been hearing reports from my friends who'd been out in the streets. And the people who were, you know, rallying for peace were, doing things to the police and, you know, trying to get back at them and, you know, really being kind of, you know, sort of like militant pacifists, if you can imagine such a thing, which I couldn't. And I just, by the time I got through with these experiences, I thought, well, wait a second. You know, I'm not sure this is the way we're going to get there. What if we could just have peace here first, and then with just our families and just the people around us? I mean, that's hard enough to do, right? But if we could do that, then maybe we could step that out and out until actually we could manifest peace in this world. So, I don't know, that was what I learned from the Democratic Convention in 1968. So now I'd like you guys to turn to each other and just, again, talk to each other, and I have two more questions for you. One, if this that you just tried turns out to work, or maybe you have some other method similar, but let's say you discovered this might have some potential, and you road tested some more and it turns out to help. Now, how might you use this to wage peace, just in your life? So that's one question you might chew on together. And then the second one, how would you recommend everyone use this to wage peace? So again, please take a few minutes with each other. So now, if one person's mostly been talking, then it would be time for the other person to take a turn. Or maybe you've been talking together and it just goes on. Everybody, bring your attention back here, please. So I now want to remind you of Tuku Sangak Rinpoche and his experience in prison. Remember, he did hard labor simply for being a religious leader. He was torn from his family, spent almost 10 years in prison. He was tortured. He experienced a lot of suffering. And through methods like this very one, and using this very one, and many others, he's come out of that a shining example of how you can transform such experiences and come out of it with the heart and the desire and the personal power to offer to the world something like this Buddha garden. Rinpoche offered this garden to us all, no matter what religion, so that we could pursue the work of waging peace, starting inside ourselves, going out to those we love, out and out in concentric circles, reaching to the farthest corners of the earth. Thank you for joining me in this little experiment in service of peace.
Okay, once again, thank you to Lama Somo for coming and doing this with us today. I just have a few announcements to make before we feature our next performance. There was a coloring contest today for all the kids, and there were actually so many amazing choices that it was really hard to pick the top three. The number one prize receives a gift certificate to the Hummingbird, the candy shop that's here in Arlee. And then there's a second and third prize. So I'm going to announce the third prize first and show you the picture. Third place, drum roll, goes to Zuzana, age 9. Zuzana with a Z, a beautiful name, Z-U-Z-A-N-A, Zuzana. You can see Heather in the gift store, and she will help you with your prize. And then second place winner goes to Ethan Warner, age 11. Ethan Warner. This one has some very, very cool tie-dye hippie colors. I love this. Very good job. So Heather's going to help you out in the gift store. You probably met Heather when you got started today. And then first prize, go ahead and just dance all the way there. Good job, Ethan. And then first prize, please, everyone drum roll together. Molly Snyder. Sidner. I'm reading badly today. Molly Sidner is 7 years old. Look at that beautiful job she did. Where's Molly? Molly. Okay, so go see. And there's still more coloring to be done if you'd like to just do some more coloring, and lots of things to do. And make sure you stick around for some dancing, because I know the kids like to dance like me. Even big kids like to dance. So for those of you who were not here this morning, we had a performance at about noon with Setting Lodu. He's basically what I call an international superstar. And his music has been featured in Oscar-nominated films such as Himalaya and 7 Years in Tibet. He's been singing since he was very young and was recognized, and he's performed in front of His Holiness the Dalai Lama many, many times, and we're really lucky to have him come back and do another wonderful set for you. So please give a big round of applause again to the incomparable Setting Lodu.
Thank you, Yang Chema.
Actually, Amy wanted me to announce that we brought the Buddha statue over here to be raffled. We're doing raffle tickets for one of the Buddhas that was made right here in Montana, and it's over at this table that has the tent with kind of the mesh. Raquel's waving her beautiful, like, Vanna wave now. The lovely Vanna in the tent has the Buddha statue, and they're only $5. I know Jacob probably made this beautiful statue, and so please make sure that you get a raffle ticket before too late. We'll draw the winner when the Drum Brothers take the stage. Thanks for staying with us all day and all night.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to sing the song that I have sung in Portland when His Holiness was there. And I sang that song in front of him after a couple of years. And when I was age of 9, I started performing in India. And now I'm here in Montana. And I'll be here in Montana, I hope forever, if you guys allow me. And I'm really fortunate to be here in this land. And first of all, I'm going to sing the Tibetan classical song called Nagma. And the words that I'm going to share today is, "O white crane, lend me your wings. I will not fly far away. I shall return from Litang." So when the sixth Dalai Lama, before he passed away, he wrote this song. And the seventh Dalai Lama, who was reincarnated, was from the region of Kham, and it's from Litang. So I would like to share this, and I will share a couple of more other songs. Hope you will enjoy, and Teshidele, everybody. Can I have a monitor? Chatila tutulaka amoleni shotsena naniyata Now the Tibetan opera. Thank you. Now, I would like to offer this melody with this drum. I don't know what will come out, but I will definitely try. And this is to say hello to this land and the people. And now we are friends. And this is totally from my heart to the Montanan and the people who belongs. And hope you will enjoy. Thank you. Anda cha 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 Indile lo ma Sandile los Indile lo Ada saja yang di sana, yang di sana. Andilo Indilo ma Sandilelos. Thank you. Now I would like to sing. Actually, I was supposed to sing with a music track, but luckily my friend was here and he drive from, I think, Livingston or something, 5 hours to say hello. And his name is Bruce Beckwer. He's from Montana. And please round of applause to my friend Bruce. And he'll be helping me playing the guitar. And we had recorded two songs, one album when I was first here in United States in 2010. And the CD is called Tibetana, and it's releasing very, very soon, but I have a special, it's kind of pre-release. So if you want to say hi to the CD, CD is at the gift shop. So you can support both, me and the garden. Okay, anyway, the song that we're gonna share is the one, I think it's from Bruce, and it's called Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudev Soha. Can you hear it? I think so. Thank you. Vasudevaya. Okay, now we want to say one more piece with Bruce. That's Om Tare, Tu Tare, Ture Soha. Om Tare, Tu Tare, Ture Soha. 3 times, please. Om Tare,
Om Tare,
Tu Tare,
Tu Tare,
Ture Soha.
Ture Soha.
Om Tare,
Om Tare,
Tu Tare,
Tu Tare,
Ture Soha.
Ture Soha.
Om Tare,
Om Tare,
Tu Tare,
Tu Tare,
Ture Soha. Wala so. Om Tare. Okay. Is it okay? We are not changing the tune of guitar, so I'm just going to do it a cappella. Om Dare, Tu Dare, Dure Soha. 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 Thank you. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you very, very much. And now I will sing one Tibetan modern song. So I don't know whether you will like it or not, but I'm gonna sing it. And this song is for you, Rinpoche. And I know you have heard this quite now often. Next year I will sing a different one, okay? But this one is for you and Yvonne, Namchak, and Thousand Buddha Gardens. Check it out. Sorry.
Arola kambana ai payu ando cham dori payu ando cham dori go cham dori come to me and come to my soul yarilo. Oh, come to my do, you la song. Come to my do, you la song. Yarilo, yagaro. Do sambeta bo, oh malame, kola cho cho, nitaburi. Kolam chom chom nitaburi yarilo yagaro dosa benemo ungalame ngalame kola chom chom nitaburi kolam chom chom nitaburi yarilo yagalo ya aya yarilo kanti siri buche necho gowa japune chasunse kanti siri buche necho gowa japune chasunse Sambenemo umalame malame chume chum chum ninemori chume shum shum ninemori yarilo yagalo Thank you, Tatiana.
International and the Namchak Foundations, and he has centers all over the world, but this is his international seat. He is an outstanding meditation teacher, and we are all so grateful to have him in our lives, so please welcome Tulkusangma Rinpoche with translation by Karma Tenzum from the Tibetan Children's Education Foundation.
So, Rinpoche said that today, this is such a wonderful opportunity for all of us to be together at this wonderful place called Montana. Montana with its huge open skies, the big sky that is all around us, the wonderful earth that we touch as we sit together, and then to be surrounded at this particular place called Arli, which in Rinpoche's vision almost seems like a lotus flower that is blossoming. And then to have at this place such a wonderful thing as the Great Mother, or Yum Chemo as we call in Tibetan, surrounded by this beautiful garden with 1,000 Buddhas, all striving together to achieve peace and to celebrate this festival of peace together. On this wonderful day and occasion, Rinpoche greets one and all.
Tendrege songzang tene rangyin manyam ban rawchi. Tendrege ta pe de chesere ene chu manyam ba. Ta te tabi nana ta ngana zoge ene sangji ta chancho sumba ta soge chek ene shinglap sena yanda. Ene ta ngana zoge te tabi go chik ngana zo ene ngani chi da nang nika ene pe chik ngana zo ene tsumba tere chere shas.
And Rinpoche says, so apart from the, one more reason why he chose this particular spot at Arli for this wonderful garden of the 1,000 Buddhas, is apart from the natural topography resembling that of a wonderful lotus flower, he says it has also to do with the persons, the native keepers of this whole beautiful land, how they have not only respected but nurtured the environment for all these thousands of years. And based upon their philosophies, Rinpoche feels something wonderful about this place. He feels that this place is something that, is sustainable, and this is a place that will also sustain us.
가르세 애니 매기 양다 가서 애니 때모 첨보 나와게 장 애니 땅아란서 애니 예다 샤조라 소바 하장 년보 샘양 드네 아란서 그 대보 땅 지고 애니 마세 그 지가도 시대 바꿔 그 돈이 나서 내제도 애니 냠좀 토바데 애니 나라 빼면서 애니 가보죠.
And Rinpoche says, I hope that it's been a wonderful day for all of you here. We have all gathered here, hopefully with peace in our heart. We have seen wonderful artists soothe us with their beautiful music. Incredible speakers share their thoughts with us. And so Rinpoche hopes that just as it has been an exceptional day of peace and comfort, he hopes that it's a wonderful day for all of us here.
알았어. 애니 대마세 다 다당가란 저거 애니 미망보게 애니 송시나서 애니 다 가란 저거 라마이나야데 대나기다 가란 저거 지 애니 다다 믹스기 정가서 송시나게 망체베 애니 가란 저지 애니 시대제야다 가란 저거 되네 생기 대지 준당 대나기 되네 가란 저 소소그 지 가란 저 애니 코리오그니 당이네야래 되는 잠블레 지기 토알 지금 내 코리오비 토니 얘네 송시마고 나서 믹스에기 배쳐서 얘네 가는 거 보시라죠.
And Rinpoche is also especially happy and grateful to all the wonderful speakers for sharing their thoughts about peace, for sharing their thoughts about how to develop peace within, how to have a sense of universal responsibility both for this world as well as for this environment. For all their words of advice, Rinpoche is also grateful.
얘네 되게 토니 얘네 가란서 얘네 가르치 얘네 선거 요래세나 다 가란서 얘네 가르세 얘네 semjian 탐치 대반동의 지과인바 동하르문동의 지과인바 애네 가서 참아 시대동의 지과인바 애네 때 사보지 청도 상도스.
And from all the talks and from all the thoughts that we shared today, Rinpoche feels that we all share something common. And that commonality is this, that we all desire happiness. Just as in the same way, we all don't want suffering. That is a common goal of all humanity. That is something that binds us all together as one humanity.
애네 다다게 애니 가란서 같으니 다 애니 가서 홀리니스 애니 자와를 못 제기야 양니 양도 송도 다 가란서게 뒤로 호마테서라 애니 가란서 직 애니 가르서 마촉당 되니지 펜션 축저라 소바 애니 된제게 다지 가란서게 애니 용자한테 망보 종요레스 다 가란서게 다지게 되니 두갑돼서 청마 다지 가란서게 야 다지 애니 다 잠벌레가 코요그니 당라고 지나 펜션 제와 타 녀의 침바당 튼제 야의 침바당 민남제 직다 가르서네 야 애니 삼시제하고 코요기 야도 여바 성장 아주 두갑니 어때네 두렵다 아주 용결그 두렵니 애니 가란서게 힘들게 두갑지 애니 아주 투문그 토니 야 중국어레스 송구요레스 양냥.
And also, he says in all his talks and messages, His Holiness the Dalai Lama often talks about the centuries of the past, reflects upon the histories, and comes to this conclusion that the centuries before these were in some shape or form centuries of conflict and war. In his speeches, in his thoughts, when he talks about the environment, the Dalai Lama is optimistic. He thinks that there is more awareness, more consciousness, more coming together of the whole humanity in this effort to protect the environment. His Holiness in all his talks has been optimistic that this century, together, collectively, we can work towards making this century a century of peace.
다다 ngaranzus any 개침보 찍라스 다다 ngaranzu 그 잠블랭 any 코리오그 니당가 토니 이나양 any 다다 가르세 지 초용니 되네 냠찬로고 요레스 다 뒤에 탐지 any ngaranzu 그 any 차르지니 저기나 때는 마음방 가서 미럽도 미럽기 any 토라 삼시 제거야 미창미 그 도낭 제거야 any 다 배드쳐서 나를 척발라 파비그 링게 개침보시 차대요 그래서
Specifically, if we talk about the environment, it is something that is of grave concern. Across the globe, we see environmental degradation in some shape or form. Realizing this, as parents, as teachers, as a community, we've got to start thinking about the environment, got to start thinking about protecting it, got to think about leaving something for our children.
아니 다 대나이 가란 속에 있는 잠벌랭게 시대 좀 발라요 가서 잠벌랭게 다 투몽직 가서 렌직도 지 가서 드머르지야 그래봐 얘네 가서 그 빼나 얘네 다 가서 빼나 지기 찍라야 삼시제야 가서라 다다 최로 카이 소소 이나ян다 머레이 소소 이나ян다 다 가리게 이나 소소 그나나 다 가라서 그 빼나 지 any ngazu chambata hinjiki any chingaran soko lobjata de nangi yembenga lobjata ngaran soko mambo jores de tamji any ngaran soko timong toni dene tsuru dropje ngazu dene petkeser maungpage any ta chi ngazu samlo mangyin dihi chigi toni any ngaran soko zambolende ngazu petkeser yata yarje ta yada sungjupje yate ngazu zog mangyin dene chigi toni ngazu any yare yago gres.
And then talking about global peace, world peace, Rinpoche feels that although there are just so many external differences in race, creed, culture, but although we have these differences, we have this core similarity of all being one humanities, as Rinpoche described before. And Rinpoche thinks that if collectively, if we have this common wish to do something about it, if we want to cooperate and put our minds together in this collective effort to create a better world, a peaceful world, he says, based on all our learning of compassion, of altruistic behavior, he thinks it's possible.
any garan sogo 멈춤ben garda야 요레스 garda 돼서 담지 가서 거기서 체사니 냠들지 총사대 얘네 가서 얘네 랑살파 얘네 야제 얘네 가란서 참이 얘네 그냥 거치 쉬고 요래.
And Rinpoche says, that doesn't mean like he's such an idealist not to realize that at some level there's going to be, differences. But the common point is to take it upon ourselves as a responsibility to work for peace. And then we can bury the small differences that crop up in our day-to-day lives.
다 ngaranzo nangba sanji bag ngone sheba yina 다 sanji 그 추기 힘거를 가려서 그랬으나 아니 ngazo 그 배나 아니 다 디밤 메제스 그러와 아니 개와야 부섬속까지 저 채와대 나랑 그 샘대 아니 랑그 샘대 랑그 돌야대 아니 디 아니 ngaranzo 그 아니 산지 그 땜바 인스 다다 ngaranzo 디 도랭게 돌아 다다 ngaranzo 이게 나가 위에 돌아 아니 가서 이 말에 이게 나가 조 파체 있어요 돌아 되는 다다 ngaranzo 그 아니 뒤에 대 산지 그다 간다 송 힘본다고 지레스.
And he says, now if we talk about core Buddhist philosophies also, the basic beliefs are actually quite simple. The core effort, according to the Buddhist principle, is to try and do everything to negate or to lessen the negativities and to increase the virtues that you can gather in this life. And Rinpoche talked about writing down these core Buddhist principles on the 6 pillars that surround it. And if you take the time to read that, the core principles of Buddhism will be engraved on those pillars.
Hola, so ta ngaran zo geva singing de kaisena. Jana pemba. Ene ngaran zo tumona pemba. Ene ta ngaran zo chi ngaran zo ene ta jikten chela tani che ngaran zo ene pemba. Rani le pemba chona te geva res.
And then to the question, how does one practice virtue? One practices virtue by trying to do something that will benefit others. It can be to a smaller group, it can be to a bigger group, but by practicing something that is of use, that is of value to others, that is how you practice virtue.
Ene mise ngaran zo tani ta nangbage yena ta tikwa chembuk. Ene zowi tsawade ene ta ngaran zo ge yenpen yesa. Ta nangba sanji be chuji tsawade kaisena yenpen res.
And especially in the Mahayana Buddhist belief, the core essence of all our practice is to try and benefit others, is this sense of altruism, is this sense of working to benefit every sentient being.
Oh yeah. Ta yenpen se de kapso kharila se ko resena. Ta semjen tamche ene donghari yaba yena donghari tamche dorwege tap. Ta nga to kas tangbo sembu nana semjen tamche ene donghari tang chardo. Devata dendok tene zowo tene shamba ta ningeje.
And then, when we talk about altruism, we also talk about everything, about all sentient beings, and think for them to be removed forever, not only from suffering, but from all causes of suffering. In the same way, we wish for everyone happiness and the causes of happiness. And then if we can think along those lines, those are the cause of Mahayana Buddhism.
Yeah, donghari yaban tamche donghari te da trana che marong sangeng. Donghari ta dondo te la ninge sakyo.
And then, we talk about compassion. What is compassion? Compassion is when you have a genuine desire to remove the sufferings of others. That is compassion.
Oh yeah. Ta te tabi ga ngaran so rang semla te tabi che gi chik tene ngaran so rang semla ini te tabi chi chamba ninge che yona tene nga so rang ying ge ini mege ba che ga ma res.
And then if you genuinely have that sense of compassion, just by nature, you will not be indulging in anything that is negative.
Yeah, tene ngaran so go pena yela rang ying ge chi nga so karsa tene ta pena pembe ge shawa tene nga so karsa ene rang ying ge chi ngam shok ge tene cha yong go yor tene so da 당보 nga so ge semte 당보 chi den doria 당보 de ene rang ge de che ne wa ta de ta bu chi ne chi ene samlo de 당보 chi de.
And so that is how, when we begin our practice, that is how we begin it. That is how we train our mind. That is how we train our mind in compassion. That is how we train our mind towards working for the benefit of all sentient beings.
네, 다양 딘삼 미세기 직 가서 ene 자와를 묻히기 가서 직 양테 송좀 뎁지 좀요. 뎁되기 나라 가려 어렸으나 ene 자위기 잠바다 닝게 생연디 인지 미니 추록다양 레고 말해.
And there is a new teaching of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, enshrined in a new book that has come out, in which His Holiness focuses on this concept, that the practice and concept of wisdom and compassion does not necessarily have to even be linked to the Buddhist philosophies and Buddhist teachings.
네, ngaranzo ko tene mi tene ngaranzo ko ranghin ki mi ki shikala nga zu chi nga so pa ka ene chamba ta ninje sengen de so ranghin kun ko bejo tang tong re ranghin kun na de yo na phe tong re.
And then, these core qualities of compassion, these core qualities of working for others, these are actually qualities which His Holiness believes are inherent in all of us. Therefore, you don't even have to be a practicing Buddhist to practice compassion.
야, ngaranzo ko pena jikten pa ge na mi zangbo chi go re. Mi zangbo chi nga so jikten. Mi zangbo chi go yo na nga zo tene samba zangbo go re. Mila yonde yenda khare yo na samba ngeba chi yo na 아니 밑에 같이 미 약속을 내가 말했어.
In other words, in our mind, in our thought, what we are striving for is to become a good human being. A good human being with a good heart. If you have that, there is some value to your life. Otherwise, even if you have got other gifts, even if you have got other skills, in our belief, not so important.
삼바 장고요나 에네 나미 털람라 팽거레 롱베 털람라 팽거레 에네 직대라 팽거레 코리올 팽거레 자골 팽거레 딜 너바 요 마레스.
A good heart is the seed of everything. A good heart opens up the doorways for you to help everything. A good heart opens up for yourselves to be happy. There is nothing negative or wrong about having a good heart. A good heart is something that Rinpoche wants you to acquire.
Oh yeah. Any 다 산지가 랑게 샘네 용서 돌성도 가서 삼바 삼고 생겼대요. 맞아 때니 삼로 땅니 조야 요래서 뭐마 때니 지 가서 미 독자지 이나요. 랑게 랑긴게 조주 집이야요. 줄도 땅야요. 아니 나란서 때 담지 지 나란서 아니 조주 용해지래서.
And then, talking about your mind, your heart, the one thing which Rinpoche wants to tell you today is this. The good news perhaps is this, that you can change it. You can change your heart. You can change and develop that good heart which Rinpoche talked about. It's not a defect that you're born with. It's not a disease that is incurable if you don't have it. The good news is this, you can work towards developing a good heart. Change is possible.
에네 잠불래나 텐다고 로지 망고요스 뭔지 미 독자던데 배 되는 말아서 그 작화장에 꾸마장에 에네 배트께서 직대는 나세 정에들의 망고 양고서 지라 가래 그 소속을 한 거지 샘도 조절잖아 양 밑에 양보들이 자주 말아서 되네 잠불래나 텐다고 그때네 그 망고요레스
And says, yeah, he says Buddhist folklore is rich with the stories of people who have completely changed their lives. People with not so good hearts completely turning around and becoming exceptional human beings. So it is possible.
알아서 근데 선장 세다 알아서 가서 때문에 쪼고 다다 알아는 게서 때문에 때문에 배드께서 희위게 따지 늘어진 좀 총좀 돼야 돼. 미yor 가서 들리지 인스타 알아서 빼는 잠불래 아니 남도다 도과돼서 매버서 가서 펜슨 거 여대돼서 빼리서 가서 때문에 니 처때서 처를 때문에 가서 깔롭돼서 처를 예 아니 가서 들리지 제바이나 안에 다 가서 미스트서 강가 지과래야 에너지 출로돼서 이나 참아지 기관하셔 미트서 참아라 인게 미상보들 답배도 줘서 삼점 미쳐봐 망고도 와 삼점이 가서 참아했더니 가서 아니 법사들의 망고를 내야도 나랑 그 했더니 지난번에 깔롭해서 나한테 나랑 망고 배 통어도.
And indeed, Rinpoche says that this is one reason why this garden that he has created, this thing is so beautiful, is this, that it brings so many people together, brings people with different thoughts, brings people of different backgrounds, but bringing them all together to share thoughts. Rinpoche himself says that just by being at this peace festival, he himself has learned a lot from the speakers that spoke today. So Rinpoche wants us all to, I guess the correct word is, to know that we have our differences, but at the same time, take advantage of this gathering of minds together and learn as much as we can about being responsible for this planet, about being responsible for peace. So we talk about wanting world peace, but the thing which Rinpoche wants to emphasize is this: peace has to start from within yourself. He says, unless you can find inner peace within yourself, it's almost going to be impossible for you to find peace outside. How can you confront or try to convey this message of peace to another if you don't have that peace within yourself to begin with? And he says that if you find peace within yourself, in your universe, you are at peace.
Any ngaranzo go nangmi chik any ngaso chama tene ngaso tirisi chik ngaranzo any ta nangmi chama chana any ngaso chik pensum ge chamba yongke ninge yongke any chik zoba dang samshe yongke chana ngaso misangti shite chado gres.
And then, you know, if you find that peace, maybe you can permeate that peace to your inner circle of family, and that will start at least a collection of people who have found compassion, who have found peace.
Then rabo ngaso longbati ngaso aligi longba rabo chigi ngaso tenisi chabayina ngaso longbati shite chagres.
And in this way, just as from one family you have to try and spread it to small communities and make sure that there is an increasing number of individuals, increasing number of families who have found that inner peace themselves.
제상 ngaran soge mile shide chebala shide shebala rang shide mikwe no tobayina. Things are manzo galongba, yargi galongba deso, any pay yon end of the parts of some pet to wear. Then this chicken and then around the pen young down, the Sotam Jela young around the and then got to pay the Korean job chedan. Anything also got a draw making also dating the top down so what the so tall thing also the chedan. An example like a needle taller, also some yam chegina, Kale also young the soya. You don't know Twitter.
And so Rinpoche's message is, try to find peace within yourself first. If you're able to succeed at that level, he says, this is a wonderful world that we live in. It's a world of facilities. It is a world in which you can reach out to communities. It is a world in which you can convey your messages to other people, to other communities. First, find peace yourself, then convey and carry that message to others.
얘네 다 미세게 되는 아란즈 다 벤데치서 다당에 다다 시야게 산지 샤자 토바게 다당 아란즈 랑게 셈네 용스 도르생인데 랑게 셈데 되는 아란즈 에네 콩로 당 아제르데서 담지 마 시와제 얘네 잠바다 닝게 세와데서 담지야 얘네 소바이나 되는 랑게 에네 이시와차요
And then, according to the Buddha Shakyamuni, if you can work to train your own mind, if you can work towards that, then our inherent negative qualities like anger, like hatred, they will go down. And at the same time, it will be possible then for you to cultivate better human qualities like love and compassion. So that is the way the Buddhists believe that we can change ourselves, is by focusing on our mind, changing our behavior. And after all what we all hope for, want the most is happiness. But if you think carefully, happiness and sadness, these are tricky problems to overcome. Sometimes we feel if we have a lot of wealth, if we have a lot of power, if we have wonderful positions, we think that we might be in a good position for happiness. But we cannot be quite sure of that either. See, if you look even at people like the presidents of nations, even they have their own share of stress.
진행에 찍기는 곧 내가 최초 인사 말했어. 찍기는 곧 동안 최초 인사.
And Rinpoche thinks that sometimes he's not sure that presidents are the most happy people in the world.
찍기는 아메리카는 때는 과제 셈발 강에 찍기도 오바마인으로서.
He says maybe Obama has more stress than all of us put together.
아메리카 찍고 마신 잠불랭게 강갈 때 제거도 왔어. 기도 제거도 왔어.
Yeah, he says apart from the problems of this country, he also has to look at the problems of the greater world outside.
어야, 얘네 된지치 인상 나게 때문에 빼도 쳤어래. 내도 때 랑세밤 믿었어야 돼. 빼는데 나랑랑 게 때문에 냠뇽들이 도와를 때문에 나랑랑 게 냠뇽들이 호스.
And then on this question of happiness, sadness, the thoughts that he shared is based on his personal experiences.
다티 때문에 라면 소목에 송송 애니 가르세 나랑 때문에 자나게 다 빼도 쳤어래. 정한 때문에 나온도 로 때문에 나랑 저거 로 규비니 로 군다고 때문에 정한을 조여레스.
And as Lama Tsomola before him spoke, he says Rinpoche had to be in prison when he was just 14 years old. And he was in prison for a total of 9 years.
아니, 가르세, 되네, 아주, 아니, 가르세, 다, 정한을 강에 망고 열어봤어. 다, 뺏겨서 쌓여요, 말에 강에 저거를 동거를 잡거래. 이나요, 대소 충청을 하셨어. 대리 최초대, 아주 연무대로도 홍조대. 다, 아주 빼면서부터 아주 가르세다, 아주 랑라, 애니 랑기, 롱발한데, 랑글 룩스제 랑기 최제도 갑시 다디 니발 쓰게요.
Yeah, he says, so of course, prison is not a happy place. There are all these discomforts of not having food, clothing, shelter. But he says, even these were secondary. The greater sorrow, the greatest angst was the feeling that, here we are in our own country, practicing our own culture, practicing our own religion, and then to be thrown into prison just for that. To begin with, that was a huge sorrow that confronted Rinpoche. And so from that point of view, he says his heart was full of anger. And you have to remember, he was only 14 years old, but huge anger within him. And he says, to begin with, it was really like a virtual hell, so to speak. He was just so filled with anger at everything. Anger at the sight of the prison, anger at the sight of a Chinese guard. It was just a world of anger. It was just a world of hate. But the irony was this, that Rinpoche's anger seemed to have no effect on the Chinese, certainly. And so whatever anger he had, it was just the cause of his own personal unhappiness. And then in prison itself, as luck would have it, Rinpoche's root teacher, his own personal spiritual guide, happened just to be in that particular place, and they slowly taught to Rinpoche, advised the 14-year-old Rinpoche to think about leaving or giving up that anger. So he says, once his root guru called him and said, hey, I'm hearing things that you are just so full of anger and that you're not doing good. Is that correct? And Rinpoche had to admit and say, yes, Rinpoche, I am full of anger.
오늘 오늘 때문에 저랑 때문에 가르치는 때문에 코솔로 때문에 공부 제거요. 콘서 때문에 배쳐서 애네 다 나랑 저 배쳐서 애네 땜반에 시거도 애네 나랑 저로 니바 매죠 달라마 곰 내가 가르쳐 곰바 때문에 대소 담지 주에 담지 매바 저 때문에 나저 상화 때문에 나저 노르제 초다 강영지에서 세상가 때문에 나저 컨트롤 한 거요.
And so his Rinpoche asked him, why are you angry? And Rinpoche said, isn't it obvious? They're like destroying our culture, they're destroying our monasteries, they're shooting our people. Isn't that, cause to be angry?
워낙 때문에 코스 된다고 지나 코스 가르쳐 온 거랬어. 코스 랭해봐 싸고요래. 코스만 니아발은 저거랬어. 니아로 도지 되는 코스 저거랬어.
And so then his teacher asked him, what do you think will be the karmic consequences for the Chinese? And Rinpoche said, oh, for sure, they're just going to rot in hell. They're just going to go to the deepest hell there is.
아네, 된서도. 웬일 남이 송어도. 오나 저랑 니아발은 종에 되는 닌게 맞제니 저랑 신감는 종에 되는 닌게 제기 임베스.
And then his teacher said to him, so, knowing that these guys, they are destined for the hottest of all the hells, can you not generate any compassion for these guys? Will your, compassion, will it just be reserved for people who are going up to heaven?
Right. Any? 다 나랑 그 배트쳐서 any 나랑 그다 배트쳐서 any 양 라미 송도 저랑 그 리당 김리 생의 케랑 거요 왜? 나리 김리 케랑 거요.
And then his teacher also asked him, do you believe in reincarnation? Do you believe in the law of karma? And Rinpoche said, of course I do. I believe in these causations.
야, 오늘 때니 다다때 나서라 레당 뒤우지 메나 동할 때 연구 말해. 될때 다다 나랑 저거 빼는 동할지 때야. 빼 때니 나랑 저거 이니 다 나서 그 레데 파다 세로고요 삼제제네 삼바 장보지제네. 되게 되지 않는 가서 레데 세로 그래. 되는데 저랑 되게 맞이 아송도 되게 갈리 빼는 나랑 등원에 노리야 코나바게 되니 빼 됐다. 애니 가서 대사 기관이 리가 기관이나요. 고조대 참아 개와 차샤. 나랑 그때 먹개와 차샤. 근데 나랑 그 셈바트 조 갈리 때리지데 나랑 되네 직다 빼지서 고조지 애니 주도도 땅니 몸이 시당 그 섭들라 인계의 상바도 치지 야도 값어. 나랑 대화 톱. 나랑 문이 찡줄 때 나랑 톱샤.
Really. And so, the teachings of his teacher had a profound effect on Rinpoche. Rinpoche realized that although his teacher and himself, they were in the same confines, in the same prison, subject to the same daily experiences, they were using that same experience to accumulate good karma, to do virtuous thoughts. While Rinpoche, with this anger, he realized that, he was just accumulating all this negative karma. And slowly, through the guidance, through the blessings of his teachers, Rinpoche was able to realize his own mistakes. Rinpoche was able to transform his mind, bring about a personal transformation in his thought, and in some way, the present experience became a totally new experience for Rinpoche.
가래지 나랑 그다 라마데서 가든기 나랑 흐미지 정한 냐와라고 삼지디 가래 나랑 상황라고지 상황라고지 차고래서 되네 때라 빼듯이서 나랑 은이 지 냠내 지다 라미서 가든기 반삼결이 지 은이 신감라고지 나와서 아직 나 고소 가든지 뭐라도 고소라고지 나한테나 맞오나 나 라마야 보더니 예사 말에 나 춘들이 지야 까와라서 말했어 나랑 빼듯이서 지 은이 애니 쪼바지 코조라야 빼듯이서 코조 은이 까진지 모르도 나 싸움고야 되는 차가도.
And so it became a totally different experience. Prison became a totally different experience for Rinpoche. What initially was like a hell, now it resembled for Rinpoche like a retreat place, a place to practice his meditation. Slowly, it even began to take almost the shape of a paradise of learning where he is just in the vicinity of his teachers, able to learn these precious things. And then in that frame of mind, he was even to look at his captors, and look at them with gratitude for bringing him into this special place where he has this opportunity to learn. And so it became a totally different experience for him.
ngaran desa de chiba lesa de chiba no 통에 chiba ina sem ge chebragi nyarba ta singham dawo halam tani tati ngaran ge sem jobu ta na tenis chado do.
And so that is the power of the change of mind can bring, because it's the same prison, same God, same experience. What previously was looked upon as hell, actually for Rinpoche became akin to a paradise.
제자 ngaran zo ge sem chibo jeya dela ngaran zo ge sem de yudo ta na chikena ngaran zo go pet kesere ne yortu gres ngai kang yimanda chirang zo chibare.
And so therefore from his personal experience, Rinpoche is able to tell you with confidence that we can change. You can change your mind. You can transform yourself.
ene lakwardo ene ngaran zo ge ene samba zambo ji cheba yina rang chibo yongodo yena tumbo yongodo.
And also Rinpoche says, if you generate a good heart, if you be a good human being, his own personal experiences, it leads to your personal happiness, and you make people all around you equally happy.
센데레 chibo yongore chimale chibo yongore.
And he says, in this lifetime, it's one way to get personal happiness. It also sows the seed for a good afterlife also.
ene ngaran zo ene chi migin rowaji chabare ba ngaran zo mese teta chi ya ba chi reso sam chi sem debo chi chasare se nga su chi lega ya bo chi drobyo na.
And he says that, we have this wonderful human form. And if you have this good heart, you can have the satisfaction of knowing that you live this life well.
ngaran lega ya bo chi majina tene ngaran shirede aka tada nga chi chemendo samni tene joba yina ya chi chide ba na chi tongdos.
And this human life form, it's so difficult to attain. If you don't do something with it, when you're nearing the time of departure from the world, you are going to have this immense regret that you had this wonderful opportunity and you didn't do something wonderful with it.
tende sa da te tata ngaran zo go peno ta ngi da hiya de karin sena nga chu chi dewa yena donghar yena ene rewa gewa yena mgewa yena tamchi nga chu sem chi ge zo ya ji do.
And so the essence of what he's been talking is this, that whether it's a step towards happiness, whether it's step towards unhappiness, from his personal experience, much of it seems to come from the training of your mind.
제자 nga chu sem singe di ene chi chi de nga chu sem singe de pe ro wang ja chen bo re de chi chi na nga chu zo na ko ta ta go ro re se ta de so ya bo chi nga chu zo xin ge yo na dang bo ta pe ke sa ka le xiu do ka le jam bo yong nian bo yong do ten da bo chi de nga chu yong ro de.
And but Rinpoche says he's under no illusion that taming the mind is an easy work. He compares it to a wild horse that might be, to begin with, difficult to tame, but with diligence, it is possible to tame even that wild horse.
ene samage ene samba zambo na ro na.
And so Rinpoche says, please cultivate a good heart.
ene tene ngaran zo samge ene ta che ngaran zo ene semje tamje la tene ga hol na ro na ngaran zo khoyol sungjob na ro na.
And he says, make your thoughts big. Think about all sentient beings in your prayers. Protect this wonderful environment that surrounds us.
ene jolung en manam ji jagu yin
And Rinpoche says he's going to conclude with a prayer.
semje tamje dewa dan dewe jodang dembara joje semje tamje donghar je jodang trabara joje semje tamje donghar me pe dewa tamba tam min trabara joje semje tamje nyeren chadang ni dang zhe dang nyom chen bo la yun ren de ni bar jo ro ji te che ga de.
Rinpoche's the translation of this prayer called the Immeasurable Four. Rinpoche prayed, he says, may all sentient beings, may all sentient beings be happy and always have the cause to be happy. May all sentient beings be free from sorrow and also be free from all the causes of sorrow. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from all hatred and attachment.
라소 부제체
Thank you so much.
에네 드라잉 가서 되는 제랑도 평균 삼아라 되는 옆에 부제체 스타히들
Rinpoche says, thank you so much, Tashidele from the